Some of the biggest business ideas don't come from creating something completely new. They come from solving an old problem in a better way. Most people spend their careers fixing the same issue over and over again. A few stop and ask a different question. What if the problem never happened in the first place? That simple question can change an entire industry. This is the story of an electrician who saw what everyone else overlooked. For nearly 25 years, James Carter worked as an electrician. Every day brought another emergency call. A homeowner sitting in the dark, a restaurant desperately trying to save thousands of dollars worth of food, a pharmacy racing to protect temperature-sensitive medicine, factories watching production lines suddenly stop. Whenever the lights went out, James was the one people called. Most electricians fixed the fault, collected their payment, and drove to the next customer. James did something different. After every repair, he asked the same question. How much did this outage cost you? At first, customers seemed surprised. Then they started answering. A neighborhood bakery lost an entire day's sales because its oven shut down. A medical clinic canceled dozens of appointments. A grocery store threw away thousands of dollars worth of spoiled food after its refrigeration system failed. One small manufacturer admitted that a 2-hour blackout had cost nearly $50,000 in missed production. James realized something most electricians never noticed. The repair bill was usually the smallest expense. The real cost was everything that happened while the power was gone. That realization changed the way he saw his work. He began carrying a small notebook inside his toolbox. After every job, he wrote everything down: what caused the outage, how long it lasted, how much money the customer estimated they had lost, what type of business they owned, which equipment failed first. For years, he collected information that everyone else ignored. Eventually, a clear pattern emerged. Large corporations rarely panicked during blackouts. They already had expensive backup systems protecting their operations. Small businesses didn't. They were trapped. Too small to afford industrial backup equipment. Too dependent on electricity to survive without it. James wasn't looking at broken electrical systems anymore. He was looking at an enormous gap in the market. Instead of working extra overtime, he spent his evenings studying battery technology, solar energy, smart electrical panels, and energy management systems. He read technical manuals, attended industry seminars, spoke with engineers, tested different battery configurations in his garage. He wasn't trying to build the biggest backup system. He wanted to build one ordinary business owners could actually afford. Before we continue, if you're enjoying stories like this, take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves discovering hidden business opportunities. 2 years later, after countless failed prototypes and more than a few sleepless nights, James finally built a compact backup power system. Unlike traditional generators, it started automatically within seconds of an outage. It required almost no maintenance. There was no loud engine noise, no fuel storage, and most importantly, it cost less than half the price of commercial systems already available. Confident in his invention, James began pitching investors. Most weren't interested. The market isn't big enough. Businesses will just buy generators. Power outages don't happen often enough. Each rejection sounded different. But the answer was always the same: no. James thanked them for their time and kept building. Unable to raise investment, he emptied his savings account and manufactured just 20 units. If they didn't sell, years of work would disappear with them. His very first customer was a neighborhood bakery. The owner stared at the price tag for several minutes. "It's still a lot of money," James smiled. "It's expensive until the first blackout." 3 weeks later, a violent storm swept across the city. Power lines failed. Electricity disappeared for nearly 8 hours. Every bakery nearby closed its doors, except one. James' customer continued baking bread. Coffee machines kept running. Cash registers stayed online. By lunchtime, customers from across the neighborhood were lining up outside. The bakery earned more during that single blackout than on many normal business days. The owner recovered the cost of the entire system from that one storm. Word spread faster than any advertisement could have. Restaurants started calling, then pharmacies, then dental clinics, then grocery stores. Every conversation ended with the same question: "Can you install one for us?" James hired 2 electricians, then 10, then 50. Within 5 years, his company had installed thousands of backup systems across the country. But something unexpected happened. Insurance companies noticed that businesses using James's systems filed far fewer claims after storms and electrical failures. Several insurers began offering premium discounts to companies that installed his technology. Banks soon followed. They realized businesses with reliable backup power were less likely to lose revenue during emergencies. Many started offering low-interest financing, making James's systems even easier to purchase. Demand exploded. James wasn't just selling backup power anymore. He was selling certainty. Business owners could finally stop worrying every time storm clouds appeared on the horizon. Ironically, utility companies that had once hired James for emergency repairs eventually partnered with his business. Instead of waiting for outages, they began recommending his systems to customers who couldn't afford downtime. One afternoon, James received a familiar phone call. An investor who had rejected him years earlier wanted another meeting. "We'd like to invest in your company." James smiled. "I appreciate the offer, but I no longer need investors." Several years later, a global energy company purchased a majority stake in James's business for hundreds of millions of dollars. His technology expanded into hospitals, schools, factories, data centers, and small businesses around the world. During a televised interview after the acquisition, a reporter asked what inspired the entire idea. James reached into his desk and placed an old, worn notebook on the table. Its pages were filled with years of handwritten observations. He smiled. "I wasn't trying to invent the next big thing. I was trying to understand why the same people kept calling me with the same problem." He slowly flipped through the pages. "Most people made money fixing power outages. I wanted to make sure they never happened again." The reporter smiled. "So, you worked yourself out of a job?" James laughed. "No, I worked myself into a much better one." Then he shared the lesson that transformed his life. The biggest fortunes aren't built by treating symptoms. They're built by eliminating the cause. And that is one of the greatest laws of wealth. If customers keep paying you to solve the same problem, don't just become better at fixing it. Ask why the problem exists. Because the person who prevents the problem will almost always create far more value than the person who simply repairs the damage after it's already happened.